Hello, glass of cannabis. It's been a glorious year. I want someone in here to stand to their feet and tell me their best way to smoke. Who will it be? Well, you are there. What's your name, girl?
Not him. It don't really matter when we all agree. What's your best way to smoke? Cause I'm rolling it up. Smoke like I ain't had enough. What's your best way to smoke? Cause I'm rolling it up. Smoke like I ain't had enough.
What's up with y'all out there? This is the Best Way to Smoke podcast, and you smoking with Big J.
And your favorite smoking partner, Serpo. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe.
Please believe, make sure you do that. And you know we got our special guest co-host with us again.
What's poppin', y'all? It's C-Pop, back at it again.
What's up?
We also got a guest with us today, per usual. Help me welcome podcast personality, founder and CEO of the luxury lifestyle brand, Zatix Chris, everyone. Welcome, Chris. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you guys?
Great.
Oh, we good. We
Thanks
good.
for having
Great.
me.
Yep. Thanks for coming through. Look, before we get into the show, we always do the best way to smoke tip. So when we have a guest, we ask the guest, get the people your best way to smoke tip.
So just to bridge that gap between what people are thinking with THC percentage in the dispensaries, they buy off that, kind of like how they think alcohol content and liquor matters. So it's not the same. It's all about terps. It's all about taste.
Right.
So the terps are actually what modulate the THC to give you the effect. So if you want to get hungry, sleepy, tired, creative, whatever the effect, it's really going to be related back to the terpene and how that interacts with your endocannabinoid system along with the THC.
That's very Chris.
He hit that so eloquent.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, that's definitely a good tip right there, though, man. So it's in the terp.
Yeah.
It's in the terp.
The terps dictate what the effect's going to be. But it also relies on your body.
Right, on your body too, though.
And what would you say is your terp preference?
I'm more on the gassy side of things on a daily basis, but I also like to have a variety. Also, it's just like food. If you eat the same food every day, you still will get nourished, but there's going to be a lack of
you
competitiveness.
You want to venture out every now and then, but the gassiness is your
and also
go-to.
the effect's different. You know, I'll smoke certain candy strains more at the end of the night before I want to go to bed because they affect me more. Where I'm more tired. The sativas or the gassy strains sometimes, the Z's, stuff like that, I like to smoke throughout the day.
Okay.
So look, man, tell us where you grew up at and how did you get into marketing?
So marketing or cannabis?
No, the marketing part.
Marketing, okay.
Right.
So I grew up in Massachusetts. I went to high school in Florida.
Right.
And I moved to the Bay Area in California when I was 19. Okay. And I just came out there by myself, just figured shit out. I just so happened to move into a place where my roommate was from Ukiah, from up in Mendocino, where they grow a lot of weed, and my neighbor was from the music industry. Okay. And so I ended up getting into the music industry at an early age and went on to own my own studio for a while and did that for cumulatively about 13 years, recording, mixing, mastering. I managed a couple artists. Right. And so within that whole time frame, I also owned a clothing brand too back then, me and my friend Kenny. Yeah. We started a brand called Grand's Lifestyle. It was still for Get Rich and Never Die Satisfied.
Oh, right. Are any of two of them artists, are they still doing anything with music?
So I believe I'd have to check. I'd have to check up on them. One of them.
So probably not. No, I'm just playing.
Well, you know how life changes, and also the music industry. It's a grind to really make that a full-time career. Right. So, and then as you know, I look at things as like you have opportunities earlier on, and as things go further and further,
change and
you got to kind of start focusing more, and it's hard to like cross focus. So but yeah, Allier Johnson, he went by Dread _Scott, I think, on IG, and he's dope. He raps and sings, and and then the other girl, she was a rapper. Her name is the Bobby Effect.
The Bobby Effect.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I gotta say about like artists, like on the underground level like that, like I don't underestimate them no more because they do have their own little like fan base
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's just that they may not be heard across the tracks just yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So that local buzz type.
Yeah.
I used to tell that to the artists that would come in my studios. You might have millions of fans out there. They just don't know that they're your fans yet.
Exactly.
Because they just haven't heard your music yet.
That's right.
And it's the same even with any brand, really. Like you have millions of supporters out there. It's just a matter of, are you going to put the brand on long enough and do the right things to reach those millions of supporters? You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In Cannabis, like before you came to California, was you in Cannabis at all? Like in your teenage years?
Yeah, lightweight. I mean, so basically Cannabis has been a part of my life since I was 14 to one way or the other. And I got in trouble with it when I was about 14 and got a little scared out of it, but then always was
and
called
that was
right
all on
back
the
to
East
it.
Coast, right?
Yeah.
What
How
was the
was
trouble?
that? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it was crazy, honestly.
Probably
Like,
the dumbest shit. You know, the East Coast.
Right.
They don't, you really, it's like you guys are gonna be like, but
No,
it's literally,
I
it's
don't
just
even
like,
mean like it was
bobby
trouble.
weave.
It was like
Bobby weave.
I got caught with the first sack that I ever bought, right? And
Yeah.
my stepmom found it, and they found it, overreacted already, like grounded me, all this stuff, and then ended up wanting to take me to the police station to like scare me even further.
So you was getting a
No,
entrepreneur sack versus like a Swisher Sweet sack.
Bro, that's what this was. It was like at best a dime sack, remember?
Recreational.
Like,
Damn, she took you.
Scared straight like a
Exactly,
motherfucker,
bro.
though. That's what they was thinking.
And that's what the cops did. They like handcuffed me to the wall and locked me in a cell and like
No
did all this
shit.
shit. And it was totally uncalled for, especially nowadays, knowing what we know. And it's like to do that to a 13, 14-year-old kid is like, you know, like what good is
Did
that?
They
it
had
push you
you on the
more
Scared
to-
Straight program.
Yeah, did it push you
early.
more to it? Like, fuck it, I'm smoking. You know what I'm saying?
So lightweight, because then about a month later after that is when I ended up moving to Florida and separated from that whole situation basically.
Right.
And then kind of just was like, all right, let me figure out things in Florida, met some new friends, this and that. And then got right back into it. And, you know, ever since then, that's why I say it's always been a part of my life. And I didn't realize it at the time. Like when I was working in a restaurant in high school for a little over four to 5 years, I was selling weed, you know, to the waitresses, to the bus boys, like whoever else in work. Cause I was just buying, you know, whether it be like some Zips or QP or something, just to be able to basically smoke for free. Cause I was smoking damn near like I smoke now. Like I smoke multiple times a day.
Right.
And back then we had, we called it Reggie, but you know, it was brickweed.
Yeah.
And so it was get like,
We all experienced it.
yeah,
Yeah.
get a QP for like 200
Stress.
or
We used to
something.
call it stress.
Yeah, stress.
About 25.
Them
Get all the
restaurants is a
seeds
gold
out.
mine.
But hey, in high school, though, like me and the homies, you know, we just throw up like one day, just be like, all right, let's go buy a Zip, just roll it all up the whole day, just be smoking fat, and just everyone piece up on a Zip.
On the real.
Them times it's like with your homies, you be giggly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
Having
get
fun,
the snacks and just be giggly.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. I don't feel like we get high like that anymore, and I wonder multiple things. Like, was there chemicals on the brickweed that you know we were getting? We didn't.
Or is it chemicals now?
Right.
Well, let's say that it's not because they're testing it, right? But now we have more monocrop type genetics where everything is like one of 2, 3, 4, 5 things. When back then,
Everything's
that brickweed,
crossed.
it wasn't any genetics we have here. So it could have been like Pablo Escobar's
From
like,
Mexico. or something.
whatever, you know what I
Man.
mean? Like some crazy ass shit from down there. So, but we were getting hella high. We were smoking haze a lot too back then in Florida in high school. That was, you either get the Reggie or the Crippy.
Yeah.
And that's what we called it.
And Crippy was the haze.
Crippy. Yeah, it was like haze. It was basically what indoor is. You know what I mean? But the genetics back then, especially down there was a lot of haze they were growing in Miami. And so they bring that out, and that's what made it way up to New York. But we were smoking that all throughout high school. And then purple haze.
Yeah.
I was tripping out the first time I saw that because, you know, the song, you hear that.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, this shit is real. And it's really purple.
Right.
That remind me of like Chronic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we had down here, like the Chronic.
No, and that's what I remember hearing too. And then later
Everyone's
on,
trying
you
to get
find
that.
out
Everyone's trying to get
that light green.
you connect all these things, and it's like, bro, we were all talking about the same thing, but just differently.
Just
you know what I
different.
mean?
So tell me this, you know what I'm saying? It's like over here, like if y'all saying Reggie, that's our stress. You know what I'm saying? We our regular Swisher, you know what I'm saying, chocolate. You know what I'm saying? But we get our chronic, you know what I'm saying? We finna go like probably get paper, which is, you know what I'm saying, we see our OGs do, or we finna get like a Garcia Vega.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna get a little
Garcia
slow
Vegas.
burn, a little different taste. What did y'all like when y'all got y'all upper, y'all top grade? Was it rolled different? You know what I'm saying? What y'all do?
Yeah, lightweight, because especially when we were smoking the Reggie, we would definitely smoke a lot of blunts. Like back then, like you said, the chocolate Phillies, Garcia Vegas, the peach Optimos. So those were all like a lot of what we were smoking. And then when we got what we called back then was crypto, but you know, chronic to you guys.
Yeah.
You're getting an eighth for 50 versus an ounce for 50, basically. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, we're either smoking this out of like one of the glass pipes, or we're gonna roll up like you said, like a
nice
joint, but like a small one when we're smoking fat Philly blunts normally, or the Reggie.
So it's more to go around.
Yeah.
A lot of people gonna lean that way too, like back then though.
Yeah.
Hey, was it more so like when you get the, you know what I'm saying, the top grade, like really on a puff pass?
It was, yeah, totally.
Fat.
I was just telling her the other day, we used to call it bogarting, like stop bogarting.
Pass that shit up.
Pass the mic, bro.
Motherfucker be taking death hits like, nah, fuck that, pass that.
No, so much so that you used to know like who you didn't want to smoke with, or you just wouldn't even reveal like, no, I'm cool. I don't want to smoke. I'm gonna roll up after this by myself, you know?
Man.
That's the best way though, sometimes by yourself.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man.
And look, we need y'all to hit the like button, because it's like we going through little childhood memories and stuff right now, but trust and believe some jewels is finna get dropped on y'all. You know what I'm saying? But hit that like button.
On that note, tell us what you mean about expanding your network. Also, let the people know how important soft skills in business are.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these things are all important. I've learned it all over the years too, is not even just in cannabis, but I've had a couple sales jobs when I was younger. I worked in the restaurant industry when I was younger.
Right.
So all these things apply. Everything applies, whether it's customer service, whether it's sales. Sales doesn't matter if you're selling weed. It doesn't matter if you're selling used cars. It doesn't matter if you're selling houses. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, there's a lot of concepts that overlap. And really, sales is a lot of life skills. Right. You know what I mean? And you just ask them to comment. Like, you're selling them on why they should comment and like. It's like, yo, we got more great content coming up.
Yeah.
Help support us, you know, and that's the sales pitch. So it's like every time, every interaction where there's some kind of a sales thing. So soft skills like that all apply into sales, whether that's communication, understanding how other people are both being affected by what you're talking about, or what the situation maybe you're dealing with. So everyone has stuff going on in their lives, and it's like when you prioritize your own, you know, time over theirs, where it's like, oh man, I've been hella busy, I couldn't do that. It's like, bro, we've all been busy, you know.
On the real.
Like, so there's and we're all guilty of. I'm guilty of it too, and it's like more about being conscious of it. And every chance you get to, you know, not do it, the better.
Recognize,
and just kind of start making that path slowly to the other side. But
yeah, ultimately, and I seen you like it's accountability too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Well, accountability with yourself in the end is like same as like going to the gym or eating right or whatever. It's like you want to be able to, like no one's gonna make sure you do it. You just gotta do it.
Not falling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, how would you say like your background led you to create your brand? Like, where were you like at where you were like, yeah, this is about to go up? Like, forget just selling and smoking. We really doing this.
Yeah. So it was just, so I've been doing like wholesale bulk sales, like with flour, you know, selling pounds throughout since 2004 when I moved to California. Like I said, my roommate was from Mendocino. So I started getting, we called it Mendo Blendo back then. It didn't even have strains. This is just like some nugs were brown, some were green. It was just outdoor, you know, and I would go up, get some pounds of that, bring it back to the Bay, sell those. And it was just that cycle. And so since 2004, I've really been selling pounds in one way or the other. And the market's changed a lot. The dynamics has changed a lot. When legalization happened in 2018, that changed a lot. Yeah. So then in 2020, when COVID hit, It was actually a windfall for the cannabis industry where we were
essential business.
What do you call it? The nation had stimulus money, so they were
Kicking
locked at
it
home,
in.
and
Right.
everything was closed, so they're not spending on other shit like at the mall. So they're like, bro, let's
Right,
get
we about
this
to blaze
weed.
up.
We in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get some bud. You
We
know what I mean?
inside.
So yeah, we ain't outside. We
Right.
Yeah.
We inside.
But yeah, so just like all these perfect anomalies in 2020 that a lot of people in cannabis was able to be aligned for, and then other changes happened over the years. So in 2021, a lot of the flower that I was having the brand here, I've been selling that for over 4 years. And I've been partnering with my friends grow for over 4 years, where I do all the sales on every harvest this whole past 4 years. So the point is, I was selling it like I said, I started the brand about 2 years ago. So that first 2 years, I was noticing these trends on what was going on with these strains and who I was selling them to and what they were doing and how all this stuff. I was like, they were basically doing the market research in the sense where I was like, okay, this strain is winning. This strain is winning. They're always coming back. It's always, premium, this and that and the other. So I had that type of market research to kind of then realize like, okay, I have all these pounds and they're not consistent where they buy them every single week. I still have to sell them regardless every single week, whether these people buy them or not. So that's when I decided, let me start diversifying. Cause like I said, I've been selling pounds since 2004. So now it's up on 20 years. So it's like same as if you do anything with 20 years, like you want to retire at some point. You're just like, bro, I can't be doing this my whole life. So that's where the brand comes in, is like building something sustainable, because even with the wholesale business, like there's ups, there's downs. Like I said, with COVID, there was big wins for a lot of people. But then right after that, 2022 to 2024, most of those people that went up, a lot of them went down or just disappeared or whatever. And a lot of people in 2020 were kind of jumping in because of either having that extra stimulus money, that EDC money, what is it called? The ERC or whatever.
The
like
PPE.
The PPE. Yeah, like all these different things is like, some people were getting more than that $1,200 a month. Some people were getting like crazy money.
And fucked it
PPE,
off.
PPE,
Right.
PPE or whatever.
PPE.
But then they were coming.
That's like the business.
Well, they would take all that bread and then come cash out on weed and do whatever and try to like
fuck it off.
reflow it,
whatever.
So it's a no-brainer.
reflip
Then.
it.
It's like, it's like, this is what we're doing.
But so now all that dried up. So everyone in the cannabis industry that jumped in because it was getting so like back in 2020, you couldn't sit on weed.
Yeah.
Especially if it was in any sense of the way good.
Kind of sell itself pretty much.
And not only did it sell itself, but for double, triple the price that in two years prior it was going for. Like 2 years in 2018, 2019, it was hard to sell some top shelf for like $1,800. If you got that, you were like, bro, how did you get that? Maybe there's little pockets of people getting over higher, but then in 2020, it's like those same packs are going for $3,500, $4K sometimes. You know what I mean? Not
easy.
to everybody, but
it's
the buyers were willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Where 2 years prior it was half that price. You know? And so the growers were eating
inflation.
Big off that.
That's real shit.
Look, to put some of this into perspective, like you've been into this because you're saying the sales. You've been in from 2004 to now. So obvious is consistency is key.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Within this time, like explain like how you stayed like on track with the regulations, federal, state, you know what I'm saying, local and all that. You know what I'm saying? And what advice would you give to the person coming up trying to get into the same game?
So nowadays, if you're getting in from the compliance standpoint, like owning a license, we were briefly talking about this beforehand, but it makes there's reasons to have a license for sure, but it's not easy to do, and it's not easy to maintain, and it's not something to take lightly. And there's a lot of compliance, and you're definitely going to need some consistent lawyers, which charge a lot of money ultimately, or have your internal compliance team, which is going to be just as much money. So that's why these big multi-state operators have these big compliance teams already built out, but they're working on multiple states. So
Yeah.
it's that economy of scale that they have. Whereas, you know, I used to have a licensed grow for about 3.5, almost 4 years, and in downtown LA, and ended up selling that. And it was that's why working with my friend's grower, he focuses on all the growing. I focus on all the selling.
Right.
He doesn't want to sell. I don't want to grow.
Right.
And
right.
That's right.
and they're
Just
two
works.
Teamwork, shit.
Right.
Yeah.
well, they're
Right.
two totally big time separate things. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? To where there's so much that goes into growing, and not only the crops itself, but the employees, the licensing, the security, the robberies, like all these different things that
Everything, yeah.
just pop up with the grow. Like AC might just go out in the morning. At this grow one night, one of the lights just burnt on fire. The whole entire grow room caught on fire. You know what I mean?
Hey, that shit crazy. Like in a grow, like maybe what, 30 minutes to an hour? Would that like fuck up a whole harvest?
Potentially, yeah. If like the heat got high enough, and most of the grows will have like protection shutdowns. Like if the heat goes up, the electric will just shut off. It's
Automatic.
wired to a thermostat. Yeah.
Damn.
And that's like actually an old school grower's trick, but it's to like in case something did go bad. But yeah, your crop will really kind of.
Like a lot of people don't know how much work, you know what I'm saying,
It's so
these like
tedious.
exotic growers, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
put into that craft.
Well, the bigger thing is also, here's the thing. From my experience having to grow for so long, is the most important parts are your mom room and your bedroom. Because if you can't do that right, it's the same as.
Break that down for us real quick, for us who don't understand.
Right.
I'm one of them. Mom room and dad room, right?
Mom and veg. So there's mom, veg, flower, and dry. So those are your main rooms. So the moms are where you're gonna have big plants that you cut clones off of, the little
Okay.
cuttings. And so you got to renew the moms every 3 months or so just to keep your genetic clean. Otherwise, they're gonna start like degrading if you keep cutting clones off the same mom. So that's one thing. So you have to have your mom room big enough with all your genetics in order to know that for the next step, when you cut for veg, you're cutting enough clones to fill that veg room, and then that veg room needs to go into your flower room.
So the veg room is the clone pieces.
So the veg room is where you grow your clones. But that's actually technically the nursery where you grow your clones. But the veg room is where you take those clones that have roots and you put them into your grow cube. Let's say if you're using Rockwool or your cocoa pots, if you're using that, or soil substrate or whatever. So you transplant that. But before you transplant it, you veg them up. So there's 3 months to the growth cycle. There's 1 month of veg, approximately. This is based on genetic too, but 1 month of veg, 2 months of flowering. And so you basically do that 1 month of veg in a separate room, and then the 2 months of flowering in another room, in the flower room. And so what that does is it allows you to rotate your flower rooms and not veg inside your flower rooms. Because when you're vegging, they're baby plants. You can fit a lot more plants in a smaller space. But when you're flowering, you've all seen grow rooms, you're getting plants potentially like this bigger and you know, chunky sometimes. So the way your spacing is, as above, so below. It's one of the laws of the universe, is the principle of correspondence. And so if you pack all your cubes in too tight, by the time they actually grow up, just your placement of those cubes is going to throw off your whole flower room. You know what I mean? Where the light's going to hit the plants, all this stuff. So every little detail counts, and including in your bedroom is where all that starts. So if anything is sick, it's not growing right, it's not looking healthy. Right. All that, again, as above, so below. So if you start it like this, it's going to be like this, but magnified. Right. You know, so your bedroom is technically, you know, really the most important part in the first part. So you set your veg up right, all your plants grow, veg, they're strong, they're healthy. Yeah. It's a good transplant into the flower room. Really, all you're doing in flowering is just checking all the boxes, hitting, you know, making sure your temperatures, your weekly feeding, all this stuff, all these details that are easy. I don't want to say easy, but they're automatable and they're repeatable. Whereas with the veg room, if you don't have anything right, it's just going to deter you off the course you want to be from the beginning. But if you already set it right, that bedroom goes into flower, and you just keep those parameters right in flower, it's going to be much easier. The more important one, in my opinion, is the drying and the curing process. Because let's say if you grew,
that cure got to be right.
Yeah, because we all care about taste if you're a real smoker. And it's not about the THC percentage. It's not about how high it gets you or how sleepy it gets you, or whatever. It's about how does it taste? How does it smoke?
That's very important.
That really comes. You can grow some of the best weed, look amazing on the plant. Walk into that room, it smells like overwhelming, overpowering. But then 6 weeks later, after you see it harvested, dried, trimmed, bagged up, and you're smelling this, you're like, bro, it doesn't even smell like nothing. Yeah, like it was looking fire 6 weeks ago. And so that it's that dry process that messes it up, and the cure process. So until you have that dialed in, you run the risk of really messing up your smell and your taste.
Right.
So that really comes down to your dry room. So that's why all your spacing needs to accommodate. You need to have enough space to accommodate all the clones to veg. And then you want to have ideally all your flower rooms the same size so that your veg room isn't varying in, this run it's this small, this run it's this big, you want to have it all consistent. Like every time you need this many clones, every time you transplant this many to this room, this room, this room, this room, this room. Every time you cut it down, your dry room is spaced out to accommodate all those flower rooms, which are all the same size. Right. So, because if people have too small dry rooms, then they have to rush the dry, which messes up the terps. So it's like one of these things that you don't calculate for. It's like
you can alter it so much.
Yeah.
So like
hold on, before you go, you need to like the video, and comment,
and subscribe.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
While you at it, subscribe and check out the Zatix next level roll
Zatix.
That shit tastes great.
Hit that notification bell.
Really. And you talking about the taste. It's crazy because welcome home, Diashe. He just asked me, he was like, bro, how you determine, you know what I'm saying, what weed is good and what is not?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The first thing came out my mouth, I'm like, it's gonna vary for person to person. What I think is good, it may not be good for you. And then I instantly went over to because he asked like, "What about the smell and stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, it can fool you though."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I went to like, you know what I'm saying? It, like you can taste it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If it's to your taste, oh, this is like the best weed ever. You know what I'm saying? But it could be the best weed ever and taste fucking awful. So you're not gonna like it.
Still get you there.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many similarities to food though, because you can have like an amazing looking burger on a menu, on a demo display or whatever. You can go order that, and it's like, bro, this don't even look like what I ordered, or don't taste. It's not tasting like you thought it would taste.
Right.
Taste matters a lot more than we give attention to.
I agree.
So look, lately we've been hearing a lot about certain companies that had products with pesticides. What does Zatix do to make sure that they producing a quality product for the people?
Because this shit tastes great.
Man,
I don't want to hear that.
Super.
Right.
What I had the
little taste tester prior.
Yeah, it tastes bomb.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I'm glad you asked, so we can kind of elaborate on that, because the good thing about how the situation with Zatix is set up, like I said, my friend's facility, they do all the growing. Cool. And I know for a fact that they don't use any chemicals or pesticides other than Zerotol, which is a organic based thing, and that's to clean all their rooms with.
Tap in with them.
So by avoiding the pesticides that you can run into in the facility completely, that's really the best way to do it. And it's far and few cultivators that do that. And there's even cultivators out there where they try to work the system by analyzing what pesticides are being tested for, and figuring out what alternative substances they can use out in the market that won't show up on the test, basically, but will achieve the effect they're looking for. You know? So now what they're basically doing is staying a step ahead of the testing labs and the laws, trying to be like, oh, if they're gonna ban mycloblutenol, let me go find a different chemical that they're not looking for. And not saying that's easy to do, but there are instances where they can do that. Another thing is where they're testing for PGRs. There's people that I don't know them specifically. My friend has told me about this, that certain groups of people microdose PGRs, which are plant growth regulators. And that's what, in the past, before testing and all that, people will grow that. That's where you get these big, chunky, hard nugs, and you increase the yield. But what happened when you snap the nug open, you'd have botrytis in the middle. It would be turning brown around the stem. And it's because it was growing. It's like you're giving the plant steroids. It's not growing normally the way it's designed to as a genetic. You know? So it's like growing this mold on the inside because it's not designed to be this big and chunky and hard. So there's no airflow going through it when the nug's supposed to be smaller and petite and like fluffy, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So the PGRs alter the plant genetically in a sense. And so what a certain group of growers that I've heard about is they microdose a bunch of small ones. So that way they use it in such small amounts that it doesn't show up in the test, but that they're achieving the effects that they want over time. And so I totally disagree with that in a sense. Like you can even see on all of our weed, it's honestly almost small to the point where some people have looked at it and be like, oh, these smalls. I'm like, no, that's just how the genetic is, you know?
It's
But,
it's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And it's just like when you get organic food, you ever gotten like organic broccoli or even apples or whatever, it's like they don't look as plump or they don't look as bright red or they don't look as shiny or whatever. And it's like you want that. That's nature's imperfections.
Facts.
That's right.
Facts.
So
And in this little space right here, it's like, in this little, what camera am I on? That one there. I like these packagings. Major reason why I like these packagings, you know what I'm saying? Because on Mondays, you can check us out and get some news information. And you can find out over there, we support proper labeling on packagings.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I just been sitting right here and it's like I read the warnings and the labeling. You know what I'm saying? And it's properly labeled from your favorite smoking partner. Shout out Zatix.
Shout out Zatix.
Yep.
So what would you say are like some of your most products that you have, and like what why do you think they resonate with like your consumers?
well, our
Like
main
which-
products that have been what is it?
No, go ahead.
The main products that have been in the stores for the longest time has been our different strains of flower. We got 4 different strains out: blue guava, grape guava, OG diesel, and Saturn space buds, which is the Skittles pheno. And
Space buds.
yeah. So
Which one would you say is like the people's choice?
for sure blue guava, but that has a part to do with the fact that I put so much marketing behind that, both before we fully launched and still to this day. And it just shows like the power of creative marketing and also quote unquote guerrilla marketing. However you want to define that, but I see it firsthand from how hard I pushed on the blue guava campaign versus grape guava, OG diesel, and Saturn. And not saying that I'm not gonna, but for right now, just the way things are at is before pushing heavy on these other strains, I'm focused on getting these other products out, like the next level roll-ups, the glass tipped hand rolls. These aren't in stores yet. We've been going through some production finalizations, we could say, like to where, because they're hand rolled. So there was a
Bomb.
Right.
Yep.
Real
So-
tasty.
just dialing the hand roll production in between. We were doing it in-house for a bit and then started outsourcing it to a friend's hand rolling team. But it's looking like the internal one was working out better for us quality wise, but it was tougher to manage. So it's like a double-edged sword.
I got a question about these. You know what I'm saying? As far as the hand rolling team, how important are them?
In terms of if you're gonna have anything hand rolled, they're very important.
It's them hands.
So
No, I'm asking that because you know, people they'll probably look at it as like, man, I'm not finna sit back, you know what I'm saying, and just like roll up some bud. You know what I'm saying? You got very selective few people that'll go and do so.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I ask for that importance because it's like, man, whoever kicked back and just like hand rolled the one that I smoked, and even
did a
some of the
great
ones
job.
I taste, good looking out.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Well, in the early days when we were doing the hand rolling in the house in-house, on each one of those stickers, we'd put the name of each roller on there.
That's dope.
So that way we'd know exactly which roller rolled which joint.
What do you use to seal them? You know what I'm saying? What you fitness rolling?
Water. So we use a calligraphy pen filled with water and then just put
Straight
that across.
agua.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right.
No spit. Yeah,
Yeah, no spit.
that's right.
No drip left.
What strategies have you found like effective in marketing your brand?
Repeat that.
What strategies have you found effective within like
effective.
marketing your
Yeah,
brand?
so the guerrilla marketing for sure.
Mhm.
And coming from the music industry and managing artists, I look at that, and not even just from managing the artists, but also just working with hundreds, thousands of artists, honestly, is the importance of marketing. And I was mostly working with a lot of rappers, a lot of singers,
Mhm.
some bands and stuff, but mostly more like independent musicians, you know? And I really just treat the brand like it's another rapper that I'm managing. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I don't look at it any different otherwise from doing shows, doing the merch. These are our mixtape covers, ultimately, our bags, you know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
I use the analogy where the grower is the same as the producer. So the person who made the beat, you know, you can't have a hit song without a hit producer.
Yeah.
And same thing with the cannabis brand, whether you're growing it in-house or not, it's all comes down to that grow.
Right.
And so that goes back to, you know, why people enjoy our flower and why we only focus on a few strains rather than a wide variety of rotating strains, is to ensure that the strains are going to be consistent. It's going to taste right every time. And when people buy it, it's
Right.
not going to be a disappointment.
Right.
Tell us what you mean with adapt to your hustle rather than flex on your values.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's another
Pay
thing
attention.
well, it served me well over the years because we were starting to talk about it at some point earlier, but being in the wholesale side of the industry for so long, there's different parts of the market where there's good years, there's slow years, there's tougher years, there's years where certain trends die. You know, when legalization happened, there's this huge demand for trim, and it just kind of resurfaced this past year.
Yeah.
But this huge demand for trim was to produce all his extracts, especially distillate and then live resin. But now what's happening is live resin and distillate are starting to crash because hash rosin's taking off so much. More people want hash rosin. So like you have all these shifts in market demand. However, distillate, all that stuff is still going to be a demand for it.
Right.
And it's just about growing because the market of consumption is continuously growing.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is not flexing on your values to adapt your hustle is like, you might not be able to do the same type of hustle for 20 years.
Right.
You might not just be able to sell packs. And it's been that case for me, like where for different sets of years, I was technically doing a few different things. I wasn't always just selling bulk pounds, but there was times where, you know, I was getting a lot of trim for a couple of years, 2 to 3 years,
Right.
and just focusing on getting trim, and that was it. Then there was times where with the distillate game, brokering distillate deals, you know what I mean? Selling jars of distillate and stuff. And that was where there was more action on that market than there was, say, with the bulk pounds, or maybe like the bulk pounds got too competitive, or, you know, there wasn't enough at that time of the year. Like that's the thing back then, especially, everything was really dictated to the harvest times of the year. And when you got in March, April, May, even into June, before the fresh depths harvested, there'd be a drought. There'd be like a literal drought. I'm sure you guys have heard about it.
Oh, for sure.
Over time,
for sure. Yeah.
where people are damn near just hitting up their, you know, their friends, cousins, friend, like whatever, just because they heard that they might know a grower or something. Like, bro, I'm looking for some OG.
Somebody done held on some and kept it stored away, right? Yeah.
And you're like, bro, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
So,
I like that quote though. I like that.
On the
I like
real.
that quote.
On the real.
What?
Look, tell the people how many stores Zatix are in right now.
give or take about 100.
Go ahead.
That's dope.
throughout the state.
Go ahead.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That says a lot within a couple years.
Yeah. Yeah. With, well, I started the brand technically about 2 years ago, where it's like incorporated it.
Right.
But then there's a good 6 months, let's say, of like building it up, and then started marketing it at the end of 2022.
Right.
And then into 23, and then launched it in stores 4/20 of 2023. So we've been in stores now for a little over a year, probably like close to a year and a half now.
Right.
But yeah, so 2 years total since the brand got started.
That's right. And the name, okay, was the name put into effect and thought of 2 years ago, or was it something that you always been repping?
No, it's funny how it came about because it probably came out in 2020 or so, around the COVID time. Right then, that's when the word Za started getting. And it wasn't even Za, it was Zaza.
Right. Zaza.
Everyone was talking about Zaza.
So
And then that got shortened to Za. But when Zaza came out, it was like, I don't know if y'all remember, but back in the day, y'all seem kind of more like my age, but we used to call it bomb or, I mean, the East Coast was crypto, but what were some other words? But regardless, some fire, but
cake,
some cake,
So everyone had their different words over the years, and I think Za it popped up all of a sudden. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Everybody rappers saying it. Everybody,
didn't that Za come from like Florida somewhere? Didn't it come from down that motherfucking way?
I can't speak on where it came from. I just know I kept hearing Za. And then I was like, what's this Zaza? And then I worked it backwards. I'm thinking like Za, like exotics.
Right.
And I was like, okay, Za.
Yeah. Kodak Black would have came up.
On the real, that's what I was saying. That's exactly what I was thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Kodak Black. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said Florida, Miami. Somewhere.
But then after that, they were also saying pressure. You know, like
pressure.
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 That
was out here moving a little bit too.
That come from the South.
But people saying that a little bit.
Over here, it's just bomb.
Bomb.
That's
the
more or some bush.
Cake,
That's it.
Yeah.
On real.
But
look, we've been on business. We've been all like business and factual stuff. Tell Best Way to Smoke, our fans, and Zatix supporters a fun fact about you that they don't know.
They don't know.
Fun fact time.
He over here
He's
like,
man,
I don't even think I want to
tell
these motherfuckers that shit,
fucking around, man. I'm moving these packs, bro.
No, so one of the teachers I had who taught me the recording industry, I went to this school for recording in the Bay Area, and I was just telling her this the other night, but he was actually the engineer that recorded all the big bands that we've all heard of from England, like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. So I was fortunate to have him for a portion of my time at that school teach some of the classes on Jimi Hendrix's old mixing board. So it was just like a special part of my life, especially growing up listening to Jimi Hendrix. It was just like everything came full circle. So really music and weed have been a part of my life my whole life. You know what I mean? My entire life, just different ways. And weed, not my entire life, I shouldn't say that, but my entire adult life. But yeah, so that music part, like looking back and just seeing like the randomness of my life and how things happened. And it's just nothing special. I wasn't like, there was no special treatment, nothing. It was just like maintaining forward momentum and not,
it's important.
You know, and there were setbacks, don't get me wrong, nothing ever goes smooth, but it's about dealing with those challenges, dealing with those setbacks, and then bouncing back, and then taking those
2 steps back, 10 forward.
And you come back stronger.
That's definitely important, man.
And we're finna go around the room with it. These people gotta be here now to this day. I wanna smoke a Zatix blunt or roll up with Devin the Dude in the studio while some good tunes is playing.
I'll take Bob Morley.
No, they gotta be here, bro.
Oh, they gotta be here? They gotta.
That's fucking great.
Damn, they gotta be here.
Oh
shit, let me see, man. Damn, I would say Gaddafi. Not Gaddafi. I think Gaddafi's still alive from the Outlaws.
Okay.
Because I would want to hear like stories about Tupac.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
right.
I would say like
that's
that.
a good one.
Yeah.
So
Tupac fan.
if that's what you're into, one of the people I worked with was DJ Darryl for a while, and he made the Keep Your Head Up beat for Tupac.
Oh, for real?
And,
oh, that's dope.
And then I also worked with Saphir for a while. He was from this group called Hobo Junction, but he was in this other group him and Tupac were background dancers for Digital Underground.
Right, yeah, I remember, yeah.
And then he did some stuff with Dr. Dre and Razkaz, Saphir did.
Yeah.
And so just like this all roundabout thing. But when I was working with DJ, he had a lot of these recordings from Tupac, even him just talking, phone calls, like all these crazy things, and just hearing stories and shit. And
That's hell yeah.
Like,
that's dope.
Like the video, that's a dope drop. But who you smoking with though?
So I was just thinking about that. Do they have to smoke?
They
already?
don't have to.
So you could just be
It
like,
could be your first time
Yeah.
with you.
be like Donald
On
Trump.
No shit, you smoke with
He probably
you.
smoked though.
He probably smoke you out. Shit, like.
Why?
No, I just was saying that off top.
Oh,
but,
okay.
More so, I'd say
That's a
like,
cold one,
Yeah,
though.
that's all.
He probably
Giddy
talks
nigga,
so
like,
much
Get on
shit.
your back.
He probably be a scared
Get
guy
that
talking
shit.
mad shit. I can just see him
and I'm not
rambling.
politic and whatsoever. I don't pay attention, nothing. I just know it's a heated time right now. So
I'll smoke with him too, because I bet you he'll leave out that session ready to deschedule everything.
Yo, watch him though. With
Tell you
all
what
the
to do with your
backlash he's
taxes,
getting.
all that, man.
Man,
Like, do this with your
man.
taxes, you'll be all right. Yeah, man.
That man's trying to stay out of jail, so he probably deschedule everything.
Everything.
Right.
Who you smoking with?
Who would I smoke with? See, it would either be, I would have to say first Lauryn Hill, because I was going back and forth between her and Erykah Badu, but I would say
Ooh, I'm
That'll be a
scared.
dope
Lauryn
one.
Hill.
Like, yeah.
Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
Much as I love that one, boy, but I'm scared of that weed session.
I love it. I don't know what it. I don't know, Erica, but I
Like
would say
that
Lauryn
incense,
Hill
boy.
because
What
it
that
just-
incense smell like? I ain't gonna even say it.
I feel like that'd be a dope ass conversation.
what about
Yeah.
you, Erica and Lauren Hill?
Man, I'm straight.
That's super dope.
Like I'll be like, yeah, hell yeah. Hell
With
right.
Andre 3000 in the room.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. I can see auntie them getting on them. You know, I feel like it'd be a lit ass conversation.
Man.
She leaving out of that room, star child for real.
So she went from 1 person to 4 person.
Right, literally.
Yeah.
I would say number 1, Lauryn Hill, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, since we are asking like trivia questions, what's your top 5 artists? Right, it could be rappers. Mix it up.
So nowadays, like I grew up listening to a lot of rap.
Right.
And nowadays I value more stuff that is conducive to what I do. Like Dolph, for instance, he talks a lot about just life.
Yeah.
Coming
that
from
young
the
nigga
weed
was
industry.
popping it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And even Burner, not less of like the hype. It's more about what he talks about. Like
Yeah.
I'll listen to those songs sometimes, but it's more about stuff that I can relate to. That's what I
Right.
like to listen to.
Right.
But also there's a lot of stuff like that just got a vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Chinks, he had a lot of good stuff. You know, R.I.P. Chinks, but
Yeah.
you said top 5, so that's what, like 2 or 3. Let's see here. So, man, you put me on the spot on that one.
On the spot. On the spot.
I'm trying to think of some playlists and stuff. I do like classic music too, not classical. I listen to classical too, but you know, some classic artists like I said, Jimi Hendrix, stuff like that. And then Wu-Tang. I grew up listening to a lot of Wu-Tang. We just did an event with Raekwon.
Right.
And that was cool. Same when I was out there, we did a interview with Styles P, which grew up listening to Rough Riders and stuff. And it's a lot of that music. So
Styles P are, yeah.
it's like coming back full circle when you see that. And Jack too. I was fortunate enough to work with Jack, and he's an artist from up in the Bay.
Okay.
And he's passed away now too. And Nipsey too. He's been to my studio, and
For sure.
I was able to
That's
work on a
right.
mix
Snap.
with him.
Yeah.
So
Kendrick
it's-
Lamar, Drake, who won? In
Oh,
your
man.
opinion?
Yeah, bust it. Yeah.
No comment.
Don't tell me you was going for Drake. I think only
No, I'm
Drakers say
saying,
no
like,
comment.
For sure, the Kendrick song for sure kills it. Like
Yeah.
even
the last one.
Yeah. Every
What
every
about
step of the
Euphoria?
way.
Euphoria, like he smashed on it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I don't follow it enough, but I'm just going off that last song. Like to compare the two, I'd say Kendrick's one.
Because he woke everything up. And then when he did the concert, in the video the next day,
Yeah.
that was a
He
West
just-
Coast
Celebration
terror right there.
there. Facts.
Yeah.
Well, so is it you think it's really the case? Like Drake's not going to be able to do shows out here anymore? Or?
I mean, look,
I think it's coming to that because
Rick
of what's
Ross.
going on with Rick Ross.
Rick Ross got whacked. I mean, got, you know what I'm saying, his incident going up there.
I feel like that was dumb though.
Schoolboy
He
Q and them
wasn't-
team.
School got canceled. Show got
cut
canceled.
they little show
Sir,
out.
he part of TDE. His show got canceled. So if they gonna shut artists down going up there, it's gonna happen.
Rick Ross
Especially
went up
like
there
in
being
LA,
dumb,
like
though. Rick
you know what I
Ross
mean,
went up there
in the
being
Bay
stupid.
area and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your ass up out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah.
You got to open them gates back up out there, man. You know he pulling strings like that, so them
Right.
strings gonna get pulled on you out here.
I don't think he got all that power. I think it's just them Canadian officials. They like, shh, that motherfucker did damage.
But he do. He do though, man, because he's a big artist though. He's big.
You think he coming back off of that? What's his comeback? What's his comeback move?
Make a song singing to the ladies.
I mean,
For
that's
real.
the thing. It's
Don't
like
come
one of
back to
those
rap.
things like
Stay
too big
in
to fail
R&B.
kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
he's been this generation's, and not to like quote him saying it, and I'm not like a huge Drake fan. I mean, he's got tons of good songs,
Yeah.
but he probably, and correct me if I'm wrong or tell me the artist otherwise, but he's this generation's version of what Michael Jackson was back in the day in terms of hit songs for longevity.
Hell no, I call bullshit on that one.
You think so? But who would be this new generation's version is what I'm saying. Like who would have
Beyonce. Beyonce.
Nah. But think about think
Chris
I wouldn't
Brown.
think
say
about the
Drake.
impactful
I could see
songs.
that Chris Brown's
Chris
been around for
Brown.
What
how
hits
long?
does he
Right.
got? Like,
But I see what you mean
They-
though, as
they
far
catchy,
as like
clubby.
him like touching
Michael
all
Jackson got a lot
different
of impactful
areas.
songs too, though.
Michael
True.
Jackson had grown ass men fainting and shit.
But he had
you know what I'm saying? To
impactful
sing 'em.
songs too,
Yeah.
though.
That's
So
true.
Nobody else, you can't compare
I'll say
that to nobody
Kendrick.
else like that.
I'll say Kendrick though, because when he put out something, though, it's a message in it. Even like with the song "They Not Like Us,"
Yeah.
it was a club banger, a banger, but he still taught us something though about Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? He still
He
was
taught a
able
lot
to
in there.
things.
He taught a lot in
Yeah,
there.
it's
Yeah.
a whole lot of shit he talked about over there.
right. You know what I'm saying? though? But you can compare it that way though,
But
because
I feel like that's something that hip hop heads appreciate. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like that's something that the world is appreciating yet.
Right,
You know what
right.
I'm saying? Like I feel like it, especially like him just putting Compton on, like
Yeah.
and just being the lyricist he is. Because every time you listen to
no.
Not Like Us, you
Yeah.
find a different gem. Every time you
Yeah.
watch the
So-
video, you find a different gem.
Yeah.
Like he's a creative, he's
Yeah.
talented, like he's a
got
lyricist.
it,
But I don't
yeah.
feel
He's
like
got
the
depth.
world, right? He has a lot of depth.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like the world is ready for
For
hip
that.
hop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, why you felt like Drake, because he's singing to the ladies.
Well, I was just more
he has that
saying-
whatever that electronic stuff is. He's
You gotta-
diving into all
Or
types.
is it more so he got the look?
Not even the look.
Nah,
Even if
it
you
ain't
just
the look,
if it was
yeah.
just radio only, zero look, zero shows, nothing. I'm just saying
Radio,
over the
yeah.
years, the amount of songs you
he
hear,
dropped way more.
the volume of consistent top songs is all.
But what if that was
Right.
guerrilla marketing?
It could be. And to my point on that is with the marketing, what I was about to say is it's just like how artists are in a sense. Like you could get on a big label, yeah, and get blown up. But nowadays with social media, it's really just, it's about how much you do everything you need to do, how much you do your shows, how much you do your social media.
Mhm.
Are you
Mhm.
going to new cities? Because what I noticed too, going to these new cities to do events for the brand is one by one, we have people come up, even if they're not buying our flower and they're checking it out, and we're having them follow our Instagram. We're building our Instagram followers one by one,
Yeah.
building our social media following. So now
Organically.
So true.
the chance of them seeing what we post next or what we've been doing, and I see the effects of that a year later coming back to some of these spots, and there's like, bro, we've been watching this whole time. You've been doing this, you've been
Yeah.
here, you've been doing this, and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's confirmation that they're actually watching, and that those events that maybe you didn't make your full money back on or the cost of being there or whatever, but you acquired 100 new followers, 150, 50, whatever, it doesn't matter. But
That's
all those are,
important, yeah.
it's just like an artist. You're going to go do a show, take pictures with fans, sell your merch, go to the next venue, go to the next city, and do that for, however many cities you go on tour. And it's
Mhm.
one by one. Ultimately, you're touching one fan at a time. And you get those groups obviously on a stage, but it's still like one show, one city at a time.
Well,
So I respect that, and the guerrilla marketing stance is what I'm saying is like, it's just a grind.
I want to go back to it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Like the king of pop, right? Was there ghostwriting people, you know what I'm saying? Like writing his songs and stuff like that?
I don't see how there couldn't be, honestly. I mean,
I wouldn't give a fuck though. Mike was, you know what I'm saying?
I just want to know, like,
here's the thing though.
I don't feel
And
like
he was a Crip.
no, but how is that
He was
comparison though?
They list his writers in the credits though. You know what I'm saying?
And that's conflicting, because also a writer credit could be the littlest amount of like, take that word out.
That's true.
And that could be it.
I
But
forget who it was. I just seen talking about it, but somebody was just talking about that.
Me?
but it could also be like they wrote the whole song, or they wrote the hook, or
Right.
you know, whatever. But here's the thing: is I look at it just like how I was saying, my friend does the growing, I do the selling, I do the branding on the brand. It's like those are your expertises. You know what I mean? So if you're an expert at singing and performing, but you're not that good at songwriting,
Right.
there's going to be someone out there that's like, bro, we got this dope producer, we got these dope writers, you're a fucking amazing performer. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to not let that talent go to waste, and you plug those gaps. And it's just like a production line. And that's what Berry Gordy, who started Motown, he kind of took that approach from literally the motor industry in Detroit, like seeing how the supply chain works, how the assembly line works. And he's like, why can't we do that we take someone, you know, just has some basic talent, you know, we teach them how to dance, we teach them how to sing, we teach them how to record, teach them how to talk to people, how to do interviews, how to dress. But it's like you're going to be there waiting for years if you're waiting for the person who knows how to do all that, how to have their style, have their dress, know how to write the song, perform, have like the eagerness to. It's like all these things. You just got to find a few of those components and then plug in the rest. And that's really what any industry is like. Same when people are surprised, like, bro, that CVS fucking toothpaste or Advil is the same as the Advil brand or the Colgate brands. And it's like, it comes from the same factory type thing. And I found that out too, is like all this production, it's the same as all this Amazon stuff. It's all coming from like 5 or 10 or 15 factories in China or whatever. Right. And it's more about they just change shit or do different things for different groups. And same with
food.
Yeah.
In grocery stores.
Exactly.
The way they season it.
Restaurants too, is if you really take it a step back, and just from working in it when I was a kid, is there's only like 2 or 3 distributors that distribute to all the stores, and Cisco is one that we all probably know, or US Food Service is another. Most of the Italian spots get Roma. So it's like you could go to this pizza spot, this pizza spot, this pizza spot, this pizza spot, this burger spot, this burger spot, this burger spot, this burger spot, but they're all getting it from 1 to 2 or 3 distributors. And it's like they're just cooking it different, or you ordering different ingredients, or this place might do it better than that, but they still have the same base ingredients.
Same base.
It's just very different in rap, because obviously you're coming into rap with your talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, they expect you to be able to spit some bars, you know, but like pop and singing, it's almost like, okay, you got, like Beyonce, you got the voice, but can you put that into a song, you know, like having that team?
Well, also the team does is it helps allow a deeper penetration in a sense, because if you're an artist responsible for so much stuff, you're going to be spreading yourself more thin. And then let's say, for instance, if Beyonce wrote every song she did, right? She's going to, and we've heard this from other artists, Kanye's famous for doing this, is going, you know, renting a house in Hawaii or something to record his whole album at, and write it and produce it and do all the shit, because it's about the mindset, the different vibe, the different energy you're getting there. And so some of these artists that would write their whole album, in a sense, they need 2, 3, 4, 5 years of life experience to just go through the challenges, the pain, the wins, the happiness, all this stuff, to then have new inspiration to write about new shit. Otherwise, they're just going to write about the same thing.
Same shit.
So that's the difference from like like say like an Erykah Badu or a Lauryn Hill album versus just like going in, spitting some bars and just writing some shit, freestyling or just whatever. Like there's going to be a different layer of things to where you might have some shit cooked up quick. You might also have some shit that took years to do the whole album. You know what I mean? Yeah. So all I'm saying is having that time of experience in between projects. But if you're working with multiple writers, and now let's say this writer had this experience about, you know, making money. This writer had this experience with his family. This writer had this experience with some guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, you write that song about broken heart. You write this song about making money. You write this song about, you know, family shit, whatever. So it's like now Drake just got served up. Now all he got to do is just go in the studio and record. So it's like sometimes it's about production, meaning like, okay, now you can go deeper and longer because you have all this team of people producing all this stuff that now you just have to focus on these few things to do.
Well, IG strategy.
Oh yeah, what's your IG strategy? How often do you post?
I'm pretty sure Instagram's kicking your ass, huh? Because they've been on one lately.
Yeah, they be tripping, man. Especially with like cannabis related stuff.
Even if just everything. Like, what's your experience with like how
we've lost multiple accounts in the beginning, especially, and it sucks because they weren't huge, but they were big enough to where, like I said, we're going to these places one by one, building our followers, and when you lose it, you lose it. And sometimes you can get some back, but sometimes after a while, they keep going down. They're hard to get back. But anyway, we just try to really learn from that, figured out like what not to post. We can't repost a lot of stories. That seems to get us flagged. Like if we're reposting people taking pictures of our bags or smoking or something like that.
Oh, even in the stories?
Yeah, not even one that we posted. Just like say you posted us and tagged us. And like,
you repost it.
And then I repost it and they flag our account. And then that goes against our hit record kind of. And so, but yeah. And then
that shit sucks,
now that he said hit record, shit, I got a folder full of shit.
Man. You know what I mean? You get that the black screen comes up. You're like, oh, fuck, what did I do? Like, half the time it's like they didn't flag all these other ones, but you're going to flag this one particular one.
That's why we talk a lot about the rescheduling and or descheduling, and we very pro descheduling because descheduling will fucking just open everything up. You know what I'm saying? Versus the reschedule, then they could nitpick at what they want to do and let happen. You know what I'm saying?
No, and you're totally right. And so I look at both sides, right? So rescheduling looks like that's what's going to happen. Right. Although descheduling, I agree, is really what we want to happen ultimately. But what I've learned over the years, especially going through the different stages of legalization from medical to then legal and all these different hurdles we've had within it, is the rules, if you not even embrace them, but just work within them and not even let them bother you. Same with like politics. That's why I don't follow politics, because I could sit here, watch some shit on the news, get all worked up, but that's not going to change nothing. You know what I mean? And it's going to refocus my attention, my energy on whatever politics shit they're talking about versus like me building a business or
focusing on that,
figuring out a next Instagram post or some content to create or whatever, you know what I mean? Something that actually can benefit me or the team or the brand directly rather than spend time on something else. So the same thing with rules. It comes from this book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, but not allowing laws, not allowing politicians, not allowing like things outside of our control to not only bother us, but to work. They're there because, like, say if we didn't have politicians, we didn't have whatever, that we wouldn't have certain levels of order. You know what I mean?
A rebel-like.
And whether we like it or not, I'm not pro, enforcement on anything. But if we were living in caveman days, like, it's like, bro, we could just fucking, some shit just might all of a sudden happen. It's like we got no fucking safety net, no insurance, no protection, whatever. So it's like sometimes in the weirdest ways, and especially in the cannabis industry, if you figure out how to work within certain confines of these things, and whether it's rescheduling or descheduling, I look at it like, okay, rescheduling, there's plenty of downsides to that.
Wow.
Descheduling, there's plenty more upsides to it. But what are the upsides to rescheduling? And
we talk about that. Yeah.
there are those, like, say that could, now that's going to allow some form of banking. So now that's going to allow investors to come in more heavily. Maybe they revive some of the industry back, or maybe they, whatever that
get
case
them
may
stocks up.
It could also be a bad thing to have those investors come in, but at the same time, it's going to bring investment money into the market, which a rising tide raises all boats, a lower tide lowers all boats. So it's just going to raise that tide, and it's going to give us some normalization. It's going to remove a 280E tax. So I'm not in any way
the extra tax.
There's other reasons though where it sucks, like in terms of enforcement. Like they shouldn't have, no one for any reasonable amount of weed should be getting in trouble for it.
Facts. That's number one.
And secondly, the people who have in the past should be eradicated. Not eradicated, but like no charges, like everything wiped clean. Expunged. That's what I'm looking for. But here's the messed up thing is like, there's that whole prison system thing. And I don't want to talk politically on here, but we all know like they're trying to keep that money flowing.
Private companies,
And
pop your shit. Don't be scared. This is a safe space. Pop your shit.
We tell everybody that it's a safe space.
Fuck the prison system.
Well, I agree, and everyone has their perspectives from it. But the thing is like it's a internal engine that they're kind of driving,
right,
for years.
Yeah, and even to the point where I have heard that it's somewhat tied to the music industry in a sense, to where they're putting out propaganda
the
type
of
shit
music,
to
keep
encourage
cycling
that.
people in.
I seen a video with Meek Mills actually. Was it Meek Mills? Yeah, talking about that though. Like, they would get paid more or get certain kind of bonuses from the labels to talk about shit like
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I heard Cube talking about it too.
If that's really what they're saying, it makes so much sense because, I mean, we all know, whether you admit it or not, like there's role models growing up, and whether we have good ones or not good ones, there's going to be some sort of people that get looked up to. And music is an entertainment. And nowadays with social media, so like kids nowadays are emulating social media stars or what people are doing on social media. And now you got 14, 13, 12-year-old kids doing like crazy shit that when we were 18, we're barely doing, you know what I mean? And
we was just going outside.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Now we outside.
Right. Literally, now everyone's outside. Man.
But they outside is different though. You know what I'm saying? We came outside, we had our bikes, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's bikes, you know what I'm saying? In front of Miss Johnson's house. That's where everybody at. We finna ride all the way to the beach and come back. You know what I'm saying? Not even knowing on the ride back, nigga, that's like 2 hours riding a bike.
Those were some fun times.
It was though.
That whole like, start walking, I'm gonna meet you halfway. You know,
man.
Outside is just different now.
Like having certain times to call, like after school, like this place or whatever. But.
So how important is team? I heard you mention it a little while back though. How important is team? And give your team a shout out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be where I'm at. We wouldn't be where we're at without the team. We have a really solid, efficient team,
right?
And it's a balance because it's not just about having any team. I'd rather have a quality small team than a big team that, you
gotta look over.
Or people aren't playing their parts the way they need to. And that's the thing is also too, there's times where, and we've probably been in jobs where you don't have the faith in, say, your manager or boss or whatever, where you're like, what the fuck? This dude don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, why is he fucking doing this? Like, and you're like, I could run this place better than him type thing. You know what I mean? And so that's a big part too, is everyone sees the vision, or everyone believes in the vision that I'm pursuing. And they understand like this role needs to be played. This role needs to be played. Sometimes we're the equivalent of a startup. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not like you're working for a bank where it's like, okay, you're going to come in every day and be a bank teller.
It's
like some days you might be doing an event. Some day you might be helping with internet, social media. Some days you might be packaging flowers. Some days you might be flying to Berlin. You know what I mean? So it's like any number of things. And finding those right people, because there are people that don't want any deviation. They want to know exactly what time they're getting into work, exactly when they're leaving, exactly what they're doing, when their lunch break is. And that's fine.
It's robotic.
Right.
There's certain people that in this more startup culture, cannabis business culture, in a sense, like there's shit that just pops up and you got to kind of bob and weave sometimes and go with the flow. And so that team, the people that we have on our team is very important. And yeah, everyone's very talented at what they do. And I'm very grateful.
Yeah. It's a big team or a small team?
So if you count the VAs, we have 3 VAs from the Philippines, virtual assistants.
Right.
And so they're a part of our full-time team and they play intricate parts in a sense. But then locally, we have about 5 people. We have Charlie, Angel, Alyssa, PBR. Well, PBR is the temporary part. He's one of the rollers. Jerry's one of the rollers. He's also part of the team. Juan. So we got about 6 people.
Yeah.
I believe that's full-time.
That's right.
You put me on the spot. I could be. I don't want to forget somebody.
Just shout out to the team.
Man,
Yeah,
shout out
right.
to the Zane. On the real.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but it's definitely important to like push your brand. And what you saying, where you at now, and you started 2 years ago, man, it's definitely something to be applauded.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a good push, though. You know, what I
Right.
mean?
Yes, it is.
Appreciate that.
On the real.
Shout out to
And
consistency.
that's why I put out the educational content on the highchris.420 page.
Right.
Is to teach other people how they can build, grow, launch a licensed cannabis brand themselves.
Right.
And really taking a lot of the lessons I've learned, the battles I've gone through, the losses I've taken. So all that culminates. It's just like, if you had a Grammy winning artist or something that's going to be like, bro, this is how you make a hit song.
Yeah.
And like hold your hand through the studio and like, he's like, all right, I'm going to get you the right engineer here. He's going to mix your song. It's going to sound dope.
Right.
You're not out here like, bro, a mixer, someone that can mix my song. And then this guy's going to half-ass it or, take his time on it. It's just like, bro, just everything's. So that's what my channel's about, is like to kind of tell people like, do this, don't do this.
Right.
And then I have like a way they can book some consultations with me, or if we do like a coaching thing where I help consult on building out their brand,
Right.
I can provide them all the resources too that they need in order.
That's dope. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Right.
So check it out, highchris.420
Yeah.
on IG.
Yeah.
Hit that like button.
Yeah.
Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Hey, I recently seen you got something coming up at LB Collective, or
Yeah, one of the
you already
sponsors,
did it,
right?
or it's coming up.
It's
gonna be
coming
like
up.
a bud tender or something.
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's actually the end of this week, honestly.
Okay, that's dope. How did you come into that? What made you want to do that?
It's just kind of the thing we do. So with stores, with the brand, is brand support. So these retailers, and every retailer is different. So LB Collective is a store in Long Beach we've been in for a while.
Yeah, shout out LB though. I go there.
Huh?
Yeah.
I gonna get my serve, or a little THC serve, and all that different stuff from there.
Yeah. They've been around for a minute and they're locals from out here. And we just know the owners. They also are affiliated with Top Shelf Cultivation. It's another cannabis brand.
Yeah. I don't have some Top Shelf. Yeah.
It's just, internal support. They support us as a brand. We appreciate them as a store. And also as a brand, you want to do store support, such as patient appreciation days, in-store demos, bud tender training, in-store samples for the bud tenders. Because these stores,
very.
they're the ones that are out on the front line selling your product. So if they don't know what it is they're selling, they're not going to push it as much as if they know all the information about it.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried it.
And they get to try it, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's a big part of it.
Look,
100%.
y'all got somebody that specializes in teaching coming in saying this, and y'all already know, you know what I'm saying? Me and Cousin already said, you know what I'm saying, as far as like if you got these shops, team meetings, you know what I'm saying, awareness of what products are in here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything that you basically saying, we said a little while ago, we have not pre-talked about this or whatever. So it's like you already know it's the truth.
Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
So what's next for Zatix though? Like, where do you see Zatix going, and what's your overall vision for it?
Yeah, so we've already started doing events out of the country. We just got back from Europe last month.
Okay.
And
Right, you was telling us a little bit about that. How did it go?
it was dope.
Yeah.
It was in Berlin.
You said $100 eighths?
120. Yeah.
American money?
Euros.
So what is that in American money?
Yeah, it's like probably like 130, 135.
You serious?
Yeah.
Shit.
But the more exhilarating part was seeing people's reaction to the weed and that's where what we were just talking about in high school when we would get some chronic.
That's not, okay.
Yeah, it's like them just getting chronic for the first time when we're like, bro, we've been smoking that since
So
high
they got
school.
some other weed out there
They got the mids.
Reggie.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not quite the Reggie.
Right,
They're at
but
least getting the mids nowadays.
yeah.
But yeah, the Reggie to what we were used to smoking. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
But so yeah, just more international stuff and really just trying to spread the brand and spread the awareness of what quality cannabis is and more of the lifestyle that, emanates from California cannabis in a sense, not just California cannabis, but a lot of it, and you guys know coming from Cali, like we were talking about, whether it be terminology or just being on the forefront of smoking back in the day, the first wave of dispensaries back in the day, all the bulk sales that were happening since 1996, basically, all the farms, even a lot, obviously we're up in Humboldt and Mendo back in the day, but there's still like what Anza and like Riverside County, like there's a lot of farms out in SoCal too that whether licensed or not. So it's like it's been part of this culture.
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. You said that you chose the Bay, like you just was like, fuck it, I'm moving. What made you choose the Bay Area?
It was a couple different things, but part of it is in high school I was growing up listening to a lot of Too Short. And
I swear I was just finna say that in my head. I was like, short dog.
But like hearing a lot about that, and then that's not the reason why I moved there. But when I had an option, it was like I was looking for places I could go to get into the music industry, and I knew that I couldn't do it in Florida, and so it was really either New York or California, and in California,
that sunshine.
Yeah, and it wasn't probably the best move for me to go to the Bay to try to be in the music industry, but in hindsight, it was. Because if I were to come to LA back then, for a very, very number of things, and it's that butterfly effect thought where it's like, if you change this one thing, your whole fucking path changes.
Right.
So I can't really speak on it, but the point is just understanding what I went through. I'm glad that I did go to the Bay, and I was able to embrace the music industry from that level versus out here. But I was still able to work with people from out here, and I'd come down here, work at a lot of studios and stuff over the years. But
that's that Master P effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the same way. He landed out there from the Bay.
Yeah, in Richmond.
You know what I'm saying? And kept pushing.
Yeah.
Working all up outside of that. But that's cool though.
Well, that's where, it teaches, like the hustle that I would have got up there versus down here it was closer to that whole grower culture, like where all the people up in the mountains were growing.
So you got like a mix of both of what you actually wanted then.
Exactly.
You were close to the music and you was close to the grow.
And I didn't even plan it like that. Like the place that I moved into, this duplex, I found it back then. There wasn't like major apps or nothing. So it was just Craigslist,
Right.
I found the room for rent on Craigslist. It was damn near a dice roll. I had no idea who I was going to see. Like when I went to go meet my roommate and shit, I was like, this dude could be a fucking serial killer for all I know.
Right.
But he ended up being cool. And there's like just when I walked in, like some signs, I was like, bro, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And then right next door, my neighbor, him and I like clicked instantly when we met.
It was like everything was meant to be when you look back on it.
100%. Like more than 100%. And
that's right. Now we got Zatix.
Yeah.
Now we got Zatix.
Yeah.
That's right.
So look, y'all better make sure y'all go check out and tap into Zatix. They're in 100 or plus stores.
Yeah, plus minus, because every week's different depending on which stores reorder.
Right.
Which stores have back stock, which stores sell out. So,
right.
But we've been in over 100. The 100 is just easier to say.
Let me ask you a quick question too, though. With that, is there a particular strain that goes more than any one of them?
We have the most recognition around Blue Guava.
Okay.
We did get a lot of sales around that, but as we roll out new strains, we see traction on those too in sales. So it's like a rotating effect.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope, man. So look, y'all definitely make sure y'all tap into Zatix. That's what it's called, right, Cuzzo? What is it?
Zatix.
Yep. Tap into Zatix and get some flavor, because it's definitely flavor. You know what I mean?
And it's real flavor. It's not terped or nothing.
Yeah, and it's pretend.
This is organic. This is really how it
good
grows.
Hey, look, we're going to take it back. It ain't pretend, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
that
for real though.
Yeah.
On the real, though. But look, man, we thank y'all. We thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, for coming through, man, and stopping through, giving us this
me.
good information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And check out Zatix.
That's
Yep,
right.
check out Zatix because their favorite smoking partner is hot in the month.
Man, best way.
Ooh, I got lost. Hit the like button, subscribe, and go and tell a friend.
Yeah.